Good afternoon out there. Corden Soroka from Allendale's trading floor here in McHenry, Illinois. Thursday, December 1st, 2011, bringing you your afternoon wrap-up today. Didn't have too much excitement in the markets today. Things were moving around, but not as active as they were yesterday with that big European news that sparked the outside markets and rippled through to ours. Today, things were a little bit more calm. Inside days on the corn, beans, and wheat. Corn finished the day down about 5 1/4 at 602 3/4 in the March. Export sales came in at about 352,000 tons. Estimates 350 to 400,000 tons. So we did finish on the lower end of the export numbers this morning. Corn is still in a downtrend, so a lot of these rallies that we may see here or these little bounces that we're going to see probably should be looked at as good selling opportunities either for this year or next year, as the trade has been bear spreading the corn, selling the March and buying the December contract. $5.99 would have been the average price for the corn that would have been reported this morning in the export sales, so that's not going to be too friendly. We may have to go find levels a little bit lower before we could get a little bit more interest internationally for parties looking for U.S. corn. So we may need to catch a little bit more pressure before we could see that happen. Beans today, last traded down a penny and a half, 11.29 3/4, rallied very hard into the close on the beans on some short covering. Plus also talks of spreaders. The selling beans, buying corn mentality seems to have left the market a little bit as well, so we saw some of those spreads unwinding, but a lot of it was short covering. Export sales for the beans came in unfriendly this morning at 489,000 tons, with estimates of about 550 to 850,000 tons. So we're not making good sales of the beans either here. The past few months, beans have had the same kind of pattern here. We'll see about a 40-cent rally, and then we'll see a fall, and then a 2-day peak after a 40-cent rally, and then a fall. Well, the last 2 days, we just had the peak very close to each other, so we are looking for a little bit more of a push down into beans. Give us a call over here, and we'll let you know what some of our price targets are. Other things to talk about with the bean market, South American weather does look favorable. However, we are a little bit behind on rain, so they could use a little bit of moisture down there, but nothing to be concerned about right now. Wheat today, export sales, 503,000 tons. The estimates were 350 to 550,000, so it did come in within estimates. Beans finished up wheat finished up 3/4 of a cent at 614 3/4 in Chicago for March. Funds are holding a large short position in the wheat, so if they did want to liquidate or get that position back closer to neutral, we could see a nice little bounce in the wheat. And that would be a spread opportunity, buying wheat against corn or against beans. Moisture in the plains is also going to be a little bit of a concern. How much moisture are they getting? There is a system moving through, and we'll talk about that here in a second. The other idea with the wheat market here and why we have seen strength against corn the last couple of days is something we've talked about here in the past couple of months, is feeding wheat versus corn. We've probably been feeding a pretty fair amount of wheat and selling a good amount of feed wheat internationally compared to the corn, so that is going to support that market a little bit better. Cattle today. Cattle for Febs traded up about 22 cents at 123.82. We've got a couple of weather systems moving through. Mainly the one on Saturday is going to be the one that trade is watching. We did see a reduction in the amount of snow that they're supposed to get, down to 2 to 5 inches of snow, but that is still friendly, as we could see that affecting the livestock a little bit. Wholesale beef is still breaking, and we have not had any cash trade in the plains yet this week. The Packers are not in too much of a rush, with cash being down about 59 cents for choice and 12 cents for select. So the Packers aren't rushing to make any big cash purchases here, and that could eventually ripple into the cash trade a little bit and could put some pressure there as well. Hogs today, they were the hardest hit of the commodity or the agricultural commodities today. Morning cash traded down about 64 cents, with wholesale trading down about $2.10 lower yesterday. So we're starting to run out of reasons to be bullish in the hogs right now. They did trade down $1 today in the nearby at 90.55, so we did catch a little pressure there. So That's pretty much it for the agricultural markets. We'll move to the outside markets. The dollar was down about 15 cents, but it did par some of its early losses. It was down 40 at one point. Crude oil was sitting unchanged when I last looked at $100.30 a barrel. The Dow was down about 10 points when I had last looked at 12,034, and gold was down just $1 at 1743. The interesting issues in the outside markets that may ripple through to our commodities here. China's factory sector contracted for the first time in the last 3 years. So what the Chinese had done yesterday was decrease their reserve rate ratio for the banks, which is the amount of capital that the banks need to be holding in reserve. They decreased that, pushing more money into the economy. So they may be concerned about a little bit of a slowdown over there in China, which could affect their demand for commodities, something that hasn't been talked about too much, but could start to sneak into the forefront here around the European concerns. Just want to remind you guys of a couple other things. We've got a special running on the conference right now. Our conference is going to be the 20th and 21st of January, so that is coming up in a few months. $269 is the special we're running right now. $369 if you're bringing a spouse, and we are going to be running this through next Wednesday, the 7th of December. So give us a call in here, 800-262-7538. We'll get you guys signed up for the conference. We'd love to see you guys here this year. We've got a lot of good speakers coming out. Among others, we've got Joel Hertz from Hertz Farm Management, one of the guys who's going to be speaking this year as well. So anybody that has any questions, we'd be more than happy to give you guys answers to those, so give us a call. Also, we've got a research special running right now, 13 months for $270. So we're trying to get some interest in that, so give us a call if anybody needs to renew their research subscription. Once again, 800-262-7538, or you can check us out at our website at allendale-inc.com. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of the trading week, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.